What's cranking, everybody? It's Joel. I'm here to tell you about Flipper Lifter. Flipper Lifter is an indie game made by Serenity Forge. The credits shown on screen. It is part of Playdate Season 1, and you can follow Serenity Forge on Twitter. There is also an episode of the official Playdate podcast about this game. Links to the game, the studio's Twitter, and the podcast in the description below. Let's ride this elevator. Flipper Lifter is a game about helping penguins get to different floors on an elevator. You control the elevator with the crank, and you have to pick the penguins up and get them to the correct floor within a time limit. The elevator can fit a maximum of 4 penguins. The more penguins you have in the elevator, the more you'll need to turn the crank to move the elevator. That makes the penguins feel like they add a significant weight to the elevator, and your input in the game becomes dynamic because of this. It's really clever. The more penguins that you pick up at the same time, the bigger your risk of missing a penguin drop-off. You had to be patient when waiting for the penguins to get on the elevator. If you're too quick with the crank, the elevator doors will close and they won't get on. Then you'll have to wait for them to waddle back and forth and get back on the elevator. You can be faster dropping them off though. Often you're doing both at the same time, and the sound effects here really help you know what's going on and what's happened. Each round starts with a time limit, and getting the penguins to the correct floors gives you more time and points, while not getting there makes you lose control of the elevator for a few seconds, which essentially just costs you time. As your score increases, the game adds more floors to the area, and with more penguins showing up more frequently, it can get surprisingly hectic surprisingly quickly. This kind of progression keeps sneaking up on me. I think I'm doing really well. The next thing I know, I miss one, I lose control for a few seconds, and realize just how many penguins are waiting and how low the timers are. It's really just gets you going fast. The game is silly. It's a lot of fun. The later levels introduce new mechanics, like moving the elevator to a secondary column, or adding a bird that flies through the floor and will eat any penguins on your elevator. These elements complicate things in a really engaging way. I might get a high score on a previous level, but when I move to the next level with its new features, it forces me to adapt, and I struggle to get even half the score I got in the previous level. It's really different. Even though it might not look super different when you start, it feels different. It is different. It's always changed. It's not harder, it's different. After a while, I get the hang of it just to get tripped up by the following level. This helps keep the game fresh and replayable. You unlock additional levels by combining your highest score on each level, and this is an interesting path for progression in this kind of game. I really love the idea of penguins using an elevator in the first place, let alone them staying at a hotel or working at a mine. Penguins are so cute. Speaking of, the art here is charming. The way the penguins walk, waddle, slide around, it's really wholesome. The bird is frightening, it makes this loud noise, and the scared penguins look so sad. Some of the backgrounds are pretty bland, like the hotel, but the later levels get way more bombastic and interesting to look at. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's some cool stuff in this game to see. The audio mix is great here too. The sounds of penguins honking is fun. The elevator dinging to let you know when you drop penguins off is helpful. The sound of the bird, so you can, even if you don't see it on screen, you can know that it's somewhere lurking around. It's engaging. The music sounds a lot more engaging than real life elevator music, at least in my city. But there's been a few different tracks in this game, and they all gel really well with what's going on. Let me know what you think of Flipper Lifter in the comments below. The links to the game, the studio on Twitter, and the official Playdate podcast episode about Flipper Lifter are in the description below. Please like, subscribe, and share. You can follow me on Twitter at PlaydateTV. Thank you for watching. Flipper Lifter was suggested to me to be reviewed in the comments of a previous video. So if you have a suggestion you want me to review for a game, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll get right on that. Keep on cranking, everybody.